Hello, thanks for joining us. This is a true crossover episode, the Unidentified Celebrity Review on the Singularity Lab. Having some little bit of technical difficulties, but I think things are going well now. Thanks to Lou, your host, Lou and Michael, for resolving things. And let's not waste any more time. Let's bring these in. Your hosts of the Unidentified Celebrity Review here on the Singularity Lab, Luis Jimenez and Michael Mataluni. Hey guys.
Oh boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay. Sorry for the rough start, people. We just reconnected my account to something else. Well, I don't know what we did, but basically it disconnected me from the StreamYard software, and I've got to wait another 24 hours. It's something we didn't think we had to do. I didn't even think about it. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for finding us here on the Singularity Lab channel. It's a good thing we have 2 channels, because now we can stream in 2 different places. We're going to wait for some folks to find the room, and then I guess we'll basically get this thing going here in a couple minutes. Rather, thank you so much. We'll bring you back here in a couple minutes because I want to go over some news and things that we read today with you, along with Alex Sears. We've only got 40 minutes now.
That was good.
Until we got to get the second hour going. Okay. Hello, good morning, good evening, good day, good afternoon, and aloha. Welcome back to another episode of the Unidentified Celebrity Review on the Singularity Lab channel. If you haven't noticed, we had a huge technical difficulty, so we're streaming from Mike's channel today. Thank you, Mike, for opening it up for us. And yeah, so do me a favor, guys. Smash the like button, share the link, subscribe to the channel, just in case something like this happens again. You know, ring the bell. Ring the bell. That way, you know, if it happens again, you'll be prepared, and maybe we'll be better prepared to
well, and you're here every Tuesday and Thursday. They might as well be subscribed.
Yeah, you might as well be subscribed. Anyway, okay, so, sponsor, BlueMarlinChronicles.com, purveyors of the world's finest fishing tackle since '95, and of course, Dots Tapes, who provides all of the music on the show. Thank you guys so much. Their Bandcamp link is in the description below. We've got Alex Sears in the house, Chief UFO correspondent for the Daily Caller, super smart dude, very, very great political mind, and we've also got Rather and Jazz Shaw, house favorites. Everybody knows who they are. We did have a poll up. Artemis, if you could do me a favor, slap that poll back up in the whatever we're going on here, the live chat. Sorry, I am thrown off.
Yeah.
I am completely thrown off. Thank you for the $20 super chat, MP. We can land a rover on Mars. We can land a rover on Mars, have complex debate on consciousness and life, but start a stream without issues? Impossible. First world problems, right? I mean, the beautiful thing about this, thank God on this show we embrace the mistakes. That was hands down the worst start to the show we've ever had. In ever. That's the worst start we've ever had. Another $5 donation. Have a coffee on me. You deserve it. Thank you so damn much. We appreciate it. Speaking of donations, speaking of super chats, you guys, I wanted to, my Patreon link got hacked. There's this guy called Hacker Person. Wherever you are, I'm going to find you. Okay. But this devil of a man
Gave special access
without my permission to all of my Patreons. And this is definitely not the special access, but I'll show you guys. That's just a Twitter meme, guys. It's nothing dirty. Okay. Here's my Patreon. Okay, so now if you guys don't know the deal with the Patreon, there's multiple levels to it. Doesn't matter if you pay $1. Doesn't matter if you pay $500,000 a month. I pride myself on not doing any secret shows, any secret access, anything like that. But an hour before we went live, this hacker person leaked some photos from personal messages that we were having back and forth with our producer. And I figured, well, now I've been forced to share them with you. So these are some images from our new merch, some of the merch that's coming to the Unidentified Celebrity Review.
I love it.
I don't know if you guys can see that, but check that out.
That's inspired by not a joke. Remember, the Dolphin Empire is not a joke. It is a significant hypothesis on the atomic scale.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is, Michael. So these are like some of the shirts that we're getting into the store, you guys. I wanted to share this with you, but hacker person beat me to the punch. But yeah, I mean, definitely check out the Patreon, you guys, because like I said, we're basically a public access show. Supported by viewers like you. So because of your support, because of your donations, we're able to do stuff like this. We're able to find some really cool designers. And like our executive producer had a huge hand in helping me design this stuff, Alex Garcia. So shout out to him. Here's another shirt that leaked, which I really wanted to hold off as a surprise because this is one of my favorite shirts. So this one's called the Nothing Burger. And as you can see, let me get in here a little closer for you guys. We've got our different UFO shapes with a sesame seed bun with nothing inside of it. And this is our our Nothing Burger shirt. So, I hope you guys dig these. I think these are really cool. I was very picky as far as the designs went. I was very adamant about having a certain way. So here's another version of sort of Nothing Burger, but this one's called, if you could guess, the Sport Model.
Can you get in there a little bit tighter?
Well,
there?
I can't. No, that's as tight as it gets. But there's somebody special driving the car, and that's a sort of a little hint as to what's coming next with that image.
And I also, just so you know, if you don't like, I doubt this will ever happen again. But if a hacker ever does get into Luis's Patreon account and gives special access like an hour or two before a show, and you do want to be, in case that happens, I just put the link directly to the Unidentified Celebrity Review Patreon in the chat here. So if you want to get on that list, look at this. If you want to be the first to get this, check it out.
Check this out. I mean, look, and I can promise you, this is going to be on shirts. This is going to be on all sorts of stuff. But I was like, I want this dolphin Tic Tac to look as simplistic as possible. And so that was, I think that's the last image we have. Let me see. Yep, that's all of them, you guys. So that's a sneak peek of some of the merch that you guys are going to be able to get and sort of share in the fandom and have fun with the show and not feel weird wearing it to a party or something. Like they're fun, they're cool. I like them a lot. We put a lot of thought and time into them. So
and we wanted to be super simple, like and just simple. Like get right to the point, so
simple but cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Like simple but cool, minimalistic. But hacker person, I've got some really heavy hitters trying to find you. Okay, so you've been warned. Arian Desario with $100 chat.
Jesus Christ!
Holy macaroni! Is this enough? You can buy 7 hats, I think, with that, dude. I mean, just be patient. It's coming. It's coming, you guys. It's coming. I promise you. Thank you so much, man, for the support. You guys are insane with these super chats and the Patreon support. Okay, so enough of that.
And stuff. remember, the Patreon doesn't take hardly any percentage. It takes like 2.9%. So I just put Luis's Patreon in the chat again. So if you want to be a monthly contributor to UCR, hit it right there.
Dude, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so let's get today's show started. We have, please introduce everybody. This is the first guy we got, Alex. Dude, I am so thrown today. I'm so off my game.
For those of you who have never met Alex Sears, he's the chief UFO correspondent at the Daily Caller and has researched UAPs for several years. Alec is experienced in the political realm and is very familiar with the inner workings of Washington, D.C. We're also welcoming the renowned Jazz Shaw, who is editor-reporter for Salem Media and The Debrief, U.S. Navy veteran, follower of the Strange and the Unusual, and the Dolphin Emperor himself. Welcome, gentlemen.
I am ordering all the dolphin stuff immediately. 5 of each.
Absolutely.
Let me know what colors they come in.
Yeah, is it cool? Do you guys think it's cool?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay, sweet. I'm glad you guys like it. Awesome. Okay, I'm so happy. I hope you guys I really like. I hope people dig it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so let's get started. Alec, you haven't been here for a little bit because you've been busy. You're an actual journalist, just like Jazz, but Jazz has been in the game a lot longer, so he's more established.
He gets to tell people no.
He's built his nest egg, yes. So we haven't gotten your opinion on sort of everything that's happened since this report has come out. I really wanted to talk to you about it. And then I guess we'll quickly transition, if we can, into the Christopher Melon stuff that happened today. So if we can, I'd love to hear what you thought of the report. I know you were here day of, but now that you've digested it and everything, what do you think?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Super excited to be back. It has been crazy, but that merch just got me super hyped. So just
Sweet,
glad
man.
to be here. I'm super excited for that. The report, I was on board. I was on board with the report. A lot of people were complaining that it was underwhelming, and those people, I feel like, just in general don't follow it as hard as some other people do. If you were upset by the report, you were either like the most diehard, these aliens are like here visiting us from the Pleiades,
Right.
kind of person, or you're the kind of person that's like, I've seen Ancient Aliens, and I watch that sometimes.
Right.
And those were the two groups of people that were a little bit disappointed because those are the folks that are expecting, the big D disclosure, like all at once, like, here's all the information we have from the government, that kind of thing, which is just never going to happen. In our modern day, American lifestyle, we want all or nothing at all, basically.
Right.
So as far as the report goes specifically, I was very, very, very intrigued by page 5, I believe. I need to pull up my old Twitter thread on it to get the full thought process down. But page 5 of the report was pretty crazy, pretty wonky. So I think specifically the one that I highlighted online on my Twitter was the 18 incidents described in 21 separate reports that included speeds, abilities, and propulsion methods unachievable by the United States and likely unachievable by a foreign power, which is a massive admission. Because if it's not the United States, then it's got to be somebody else, and if it's not somebody else that we know of, then that obviously begs the question of who is it.
Right.
So the goal needs to be trying to search out what that is, which unfortunately isn't included in this report. We got like Tixonator says right here, had some great stuff, but it was scraps. It doesn't include witness testimony, which I think is a big oversight, especially when you consider that the report talks about 11 near misses. 11 near misses with unidentified flying objects. That's a lot. Like, that is a huge number. I mean, it is crazy to have a near miss at an international airport or something like that. Like, that shuts down air travel. There's an investigation. 11 near misses with something you don't know what it is.
Real quick, Alex, sorry, your mic is, I think, reverbing for some reason. So just because the stream's been wacky, if you could back out, come back in, hopefully that'll fix the issue.
Sure.
And in the meantime, let's get Jazz in here real quick, because I also wanted to transition to Jazz's thoughts. Have you seen the Stephen Greer documentary yet, Jazz? Have you bothered?
No, and I don't really plan on watching it. I've been watching the reviews and stuff. It's like there's only so many hours in the day. Before we get to that or the other stuff, I just wanted to say, if anybody had checked with me, the reason that we're on Michael's channel and that Luis, just crashed and all that, I had predicted this earlier. No, seriously. Tomorrow, for anybody who hasn't checked the calendar, is July 8th,
Okay.
2021.
Okay.
That is the date that was predicted by a very famous Reddit person 7 years ago, and there's a big following. If you think I'm making a joke, go check it out, who said that this is the date, and he thought it was July 8th. It might be July 18th, could be 10 days later, but the first target date was tomorrow. That was the big reveal that the aliens were going to reveal themselves globally. So there's a lot of people that have been watching that date. We're right after the UAP task force report came out, and we are right after when the Big Phone Home 2 was announced. And all of a sudden, this channel goes down. You do the math.
Wow.
All right? That's all I'm saying.
Wow.
It's not an accident.
There's an interesting amount of prophecy going on here.
Yeah.
I find it quite fascinating.
Yeah, or it could just be as simple as us. It could just be as simple as us not reconnecting the account to StreamYard because what did we do, Michael? Again, I had to switch it from a personal account to like a business account, basically.
In
my
order,
YouTube channel.
That's right, because we wanted to bring in we're bringing in more help to the show. And by the way, if you're out there and you want to support the show, if you can't support financially, but you want to put some sweat equity into it, if you're just a fan of it and you want to help out, we're always accepting help because both Luis and I have full-time jobs, and we do this every single night of the week. So Monday through Friday we do it. But yeah, if you're interested in helping it. So the reason we did, we brought a new person on and we wanted them to be able to support more. And so we changed the account from a regular account as owned by Luis, like a personal account, to a brand account because Luis is moving into the big time now. And we forgot to reconnect StreamYard to the new account. I think that's part of it. But prophecies, utilize whatever coincidences are necessary.
That, and I'm also never going to doubt what something that comes out of Shaw's mouth. Like, that's not wise either. So let's see. We got Alex back. Let's give it a little test.
How am I sounding right now?
I think that sounds better.
Great.
I mean, I wasn't getting a ton of reverb.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's what we like to see, fellas.
All right,
yes,
there we go.
Sir.
All right, great. Well, thank you guys in the chat for letting us know. We always want to make sure this show doesn't annoy you, but sometimes technical difficulties happen that we don't hear, so we appreciate it.
Alex, this is a personal question, but are you in a shower?
No.
Oh, please be in a shower.
Why do I? Because I see curtains.
It does.
No,
Look like
I'm in the middle of a couple of windows. There's just a window there, window over there.
I was really hoping you were in a shower.
It almost looked like a towel rack or something.
It'd be tile. It'd be tile back there.
That's true.
That's true.
I'll turn the water on next time.
So I'm sorry, man. Where did you leave off? You were talking about.
I believe I was talking about the near misses, the 11 near misses.
Right.
Thankfully, no crashes, at least that we know of. But I just think that's such a huge number, and I thought it was really, really, really disappointing that the report didn't include any witness testimony from the pilots regarding these 11 near misses. And just to kind of cap off my thoughts on the report, clearly it was just a cry for help. And like, please give us funding, give this the attention it deserves, which, that's what was needed. Like a lot of people will read this report and complain like, oh my gosh, the government is asking for more money. Of course it is. Yes, it is.
But wasn't it in the wording of the bill that they're not asking for more money? They're asking to allocate funds from a different part of the budget.
I'm not in the report specifically. They didn't really specify where the money should come from.
Okay.
They were just.
But I mean,
like,
even if the budget quadrupled, it would still be a drop in the bucket for military spending aspect.
It'd be something. They could at least have more than just like two guys in a closet.
And remember, or a shower. But remember, Christopher Melon said in his piece that he dropped today. Furthermore, it did this without a penny of appropriation funding.
Exactly.
So are they asking for more non-appropriated funding, Jazz? Is that right?
The Intelligence Authorization Act that demanded the report didn't threaten their funding because they didn't have any. It didn't create any funding. It was just what's known as a sense of Congress, a sense of the Senate, a sense of the House, saying this is something we would like you to do, this is something we're telling you to do. It didn't have any muscle behind it because it didn't affect any funding.
Right.
The response said, in order to do everything you're asking us to do, we're going to need more resources. It wasn't a direct, they're not allowed to directly say, you have to give us money or we're not going to do. That's not how it works.
Right.
But they made it clear that in order to get done all the goals you set for us, that we're going to need resources, we're going to need people, we're going to need offices, just all the stuff that goes into doing this. And it sounds like from the feedback we're getting from members in the House and the Senate on the Intelligence and Armed Forces committees, there's like virtually no objection to that because Luis already pointed it out. The amount of money we're talking about, they spend that on coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. on coffee in Washington, D.C. And to get it rolling, to get it set up, to get it permanently staffed, they're going to be talking, $100-200 million, initially, probably more later. But that gets you the personnel, the experienced people, things like that. And it seems like there's virtually no objection to that. There's been no partisan arguing coming out, like, well, this is a waste of time. There's a couple of people like Rand Paul who said that. Everyone else that's been briefed is like, crap. There's been a lot of crap responses, like, wow, and yeah, they're going to cough up that money in a heartbeat. So I find I'm very hopeful. I think it's going to move forward. Where it goes next, I hope Lou Elizondo is right. I know that there's work going on to try to get part of the full report declassified. John Greenwald has been working on this, and there are hopeful signs that some portions of the larger report will be declassified and released. We don't know that yet, but from what John was telling me just today, it could be as little as 6 to 8 weeks. And we could have some better stuff, maybe some better videos or pictures, some more complete pilot testimony, things like that. We don't know that yet, but I think there will be a more permanent office set up. It will be funded, and we may be getting some more goodies so we can move forward. I certainly hope so. Let's cross our fingers.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping for, is a permanent office. A yearly report would be nice. And some sort of public funding for, well, we were talking to Chris Plain actually the other day. I do like the idea that NASA is sort of the middleman between the public, the Department of Defense, and this information. It's because if you work at NASA, you could look at the sensitive classified information, scientifically study it, and then write a paper coming out of NASA that maybe you start swaying people like Neil deGrasse Tyson. So I think you're right, Jazz. I mean, I think we're going to get congressional hearings within the next year. Yep. I know that's definitely what we're going to be asking for. I know that I think you're right. Within the next 90 days, or within these 90 days, there's going to be another report that's coming out that's going straight to Congress. And it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of that publicly. And like you said, Greenwald seems to be on it, which is wonderful.
You brought up. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No.
I was just gonna say you brought up Neil deGrasse Tyson, and Chris Mellon took a little swipe at him in the piece that he wrote. He said, "Time and time again, we've seen distinguished scientists stating the obvious, that the videos I provided the NYT are not proof of alien life. Who claimed that the videos alone were proof of alien life? Certainly not those of us involved in providing them to New York Times and Washington Post." And I think Neil deGrasse Tyson is guilty of this. Mick West can be guilty of this. Rather, calm down. Rather, I can see him in the background, ready to pop in. Who is the guy that did the TMZ report? Rather, okay, thank you, Rather. So no, but I think it's fair, because he's, even though Christopher Mellon is the number one proponent of keeping ET on the table, he's also not saying this data is purely enough to imply ET. And I think that's a very nuanced approach. And I think but we need to remember that this stuff is not black and white. But I think he did a phenomenal job in this piece. I really enjoyed reading this piece today.
Yeah, no. Well, let's talk about it. I mean, let's bring Rather in here too, because he actually did. He read it as well. The one thing that really stuck out to me, and let me just pull it up. It kind of sort of doubling down on what you said, Michael. The extraterrestrial technology was not discussed in the report because the issue is too politically sensitive, not because it's irrelevant. There was no proof presented of alien involvement, even at the classified level, but the dilemma remains unsolved, and the primary alternatives to the alien hypothesis are clearly diminished by the report. So he's basically saying to that community, I hear you. Okay, I hear you. I understand what you're saying, but this is the reason why it's not in the report. And I think he's laying out in this whole thing, he's laying out things that we can ask for, things that we should be looking out for in the future. But I loved that he actually acknowledged the group of people, the experiencers, the people who are experiencing something way different than most people when they see these things. And I like that. I thought that was a really nice touch. Because I feel like that community has really been left out, has felt left out for a long time. They've been marginalized, they've been made fun of, and now this report is coming out, and they're like, well, what about our discussion? What about what we've said? And everybody's like, whoa, just settle down. We need a little more time, and they don't want any more time. They want to talk about it now. But I do like this comment. I think it's just a nice little shout out to that community and just saying, hey, we see you. Just be a little more patient.
There are like 3 different levels of people that have been waiting to say, we told you so.
Right.
Okay. We've gotten past the first level. I think most of us here are on that level.
Yeah.
That hopefully we're polite enough to not scream, we told you so, although I went out online and did it. Then there's the people that are like experiencers that have seen things, experienced things. And then there's a couple levels above that of people that you get into the whole thing with the CE5 and all that. And people that have these stories that even if you are fine with where we are now, are like, well, I'm not entirely sure I'm good that there were these beautiful Venusians coming down and having sex with my boyfriend. And the reason was, because they were creating new cryptids or things like that, so it's an increasingly high barrier to go each way. Where does the truth land? Isn't that the adventure we're all on right now? Don't we want to know where the truth lands and how much of it's true? But we're not better shape than we were before, at least in my opinion.
Alec, what did you think of Christopher Melon's?
Hey guys, take me backstage for a minute.
We could do that. What did you think about his? What are we calling this? Is this an article or is this
I would say almost
piece?
like a blog post.
Analysis?
Yeah, so it feels like a blog. Yeah, for an analysis.
He has several
blog.
of these.
He has. I don't know what to call them. They're not articles, right? Like they're because they're coming from a place of, I feel like, personal opinion.
Well, yeah, since they're self-published, I would consider them a blog because it's on his own website. He's just putting his thoughts out there. So I would closely, I would consider that a blog. But as for my thoughts on it in general, I thought it was a very good breakdown of just kind of the UAP report in general. I thought he did once again, just another good breakdown about the Nimitz case. But specifically at the end, what he is saying are like, here are questions about the Nimitz case. Those questions aren't necessarily for the 4 of us to sit here and ponder.
Right.
Those questions are targeted towards congressmen. Those are questions that Melon is saying, hey, you guys there in Congress, this is what you should be asking people, or along these lines, this is what you should be asking representatives of the Pentagon whenever, if ever, you get around to scheduling these hearings. And I think he's put these kinds of questions in one other blog post. It might have even been specific to these are the things that Congress needs to ask the Pentagon about. But this one he just kind of slid in there. But I think because Melon is doing that, I think we can have a high degree of confidence that we will get hearings on this. Another congressman came out just the other day on the 4th of July saying, yeah, we want to have hearings. It was Andre Carson from Indiana.
And he's also on the sub-select committee, if I'm not mistaken. Or the armed services committee, one or the other. I can't remember. But rather, what are your thoughts on Melon's blog?
Yeah. Well, it seemed to me like he probably wrote this before the report was released, right after that. I think it was a New York Times article that had that headline that then got created. Because he mentions that time that the media is saying not aliens, and I kind of disagree with that premise. I feel like the media is actually taking this report and, if anything, are kind of uncritically giving the statement that there are these unknown things that we're experiencing and that they kind of probably are aliens. We have that TMZ report. We have that 3-hour Discovery Live special. We have things on the Today saying, are we alone?
The word
I
keeps
don't get the
coming
same
up.
impression that Melon got.
Yeah, well, I think you're right, dude. I think the word definitely keeps coming up in media interviews. The question is, well, what do you think, Senator? Are these aliens? Are we alone? And so the question is coming up. It's just politically speaking, they don't want to touch it. So they try to, well, of course, there could be, I'm sure there's life all over the universe. And they go into these very broad answers. But, hey, the questions are being asked, and I think at some point they're going to start to turn.
Yeah, I agree. But, I think that it is maybe still too early for, the news media to say it's aliens because, really there's enough evidence that it's, a miraculous intervention of God as it is aliens at this point. Something weird is going on, but we don't know.
And there are probably people in the Pentagon who think that.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, according to Elizondo, there are people in the Pentagon who believe that some of these are demonic, and so they just avoid them at all costs. I have a hard time believing that's anywhere near a majority. I'm sure it's a handful here and there who maybe Elizondo went up against while he was inside, but I'm sure it's there.
If they are there, and I'm sure they are, I would consider them to be very highly placed if they're putting up the kind of roadblocks that Lou was complaining about. But one thing I did want to say on Melon's blog post here is his complaints about the media, and I agree with a couple of people in the chat. The headlines have been kind of terrible, and it's been pretty much every media outlet puts some kind of article out saying. Some op-ed saying, it's probably not aliens, guys. Like, that kind of thing. And that's the one thing that really peeves people like Melon, people like Lou, who have been at this for so long, and then also people like us, is if you are definitively saying what something is or isn't, you're probably not talking about this seriously. Right.
Right.
And I think that's where Melon is kind of getting his britches caught a little bit, is because he's spent, years and years and years of his life now doing this, only to have, very monumentous occasions come up this year with this UAP report and the videos and the media attention, just for, a bunch of keyboard warrior blue checks on Twitter to sit there and go, it's not aliens, it's an asteroid.
Yeah.
So and he's pissed.
He is pissed, and he literally says a fair headline. He says in the piece, a fair headline might have been UAP report strengthens alien hypothesis. He minces no words.
Yeah, he's getting a little ornery, and I like it.
I like it too.
But it's still a fair argument, isn't it? Until somebody wheels out an alien body or a craft with some material that we can test and show the test results, and say that it's definitively not from this solar system or whatever, then I think they're making a very good case. Okay, it's probably not human. It's probably not us or the Russians or the Chinese or whatever. But do we know? I love this topic because it has spurred so many fascinating conversations. It's like, well, okay, maybe some other life form from a different star system, even a different galaxy, maybe, but people are exploring all sorts of ideas. Like, maybe it's interdimensional. Maybe we don't understand the universe as much as we think we do because we live in these 3 dimensions. Maybe there's interdimensional stuff, the more far out there, but still not written off by Einstein. Maybe it's time travelers coming back to look at things. There's a lot of possibilities, and of course dolphins. But even leaving the dolphins aside for a moment, breakaway civilization. Have we been sharing the planet with some other intelligence that has not deigned to speak to us and has been buzzing around and just doing their own thing and really doesn't want to talk to us? I think nothing's really been taken off the table until somebody presents some evidence. So, and I think that's good for science, because here's my big point. Nobody thought it was possible to have powered human flight, even though they'd been watching birds for all that time, until they looked at something and said, oh, wait, we could do that. And right now we have discussions going on in the science community, like, oh, here's this Tic Tac and it's doing this stuff that, well, that's not possible, but somebody's doing it. And now there are people coming up with possibilities of like, oh, well, maybe it has like a plasma shield around it, things like that. And I think every time you see something wondrous that you didn't witness before as a human being, there are always really smart people that are like, well, wait, if the bird can do that, I should be able to do that. And eventually you figure it out, right? So I think this is it's still a totally positive development all the way along, because we're talking about advances. Do we steal or co-opt or buy or recover the technology from some new civilization that we're encountering now? Or do we just get a hint and make us start thinking, like, well, maybe we could do that. And if we start thinking hard enough, we got smart people around. They might, even if we don't get it from them, whoever them is, maybe that takes us to the next step. I think it's an exciting time.
Yeah. Real quick, I was going to say, you got any final thoughts? We're going to bring in the dragon after this.
It's just like Roger Bannister in the 4-Minute Mile. Once something is proven to be possible, you see it being possible, human ingenuity is going to figure out how to do it.
Right. Yeah, it's just got to, people have got to see it.
They've got to see the breakthrough. That's right.
Yeah. So we're gonna take you out for a bit, make some room for the security expert,
for the dragon,
for our in-house security team.
Stay safe.
Security team. Thank you. We'll see you.
Can you grab my questions on my notepad, please?
Look at this.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No worries. Ryan Sprague in the house. What's up, dude? Love that guy, man.
Love Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan, great show this week, Ryan, by the way.
Killer show.
Glad you're listening. That was a killer show. The one with the Navy folks was just, Ryan uncovered, if you didn't go listen to Somewhere in the Skies, not the latest one, but the one right before that, the interviews that he did from the Roosevelt and the Nimitz, they covered stuff, and you know me, I'm like obsessive compulsive about this. He uncovered some stuff that I had never heard. So it was a fantastic show, Ryan. Congratulations.
Great show. And go send him some love, guys. He was feeling a little down. And he just had a conversation with Jamal. Dude, he's got to be feeling good after a Jamal Thomas conversation. Because that dude inspires everything. Okay.
Filibuster in chief.
Yep. All right. Yes. Sorry. Go ahead, Michael.
No, I'm so excited because we've got an amazing guest backstage right now. For those of you who don't know, he's the chief security officer on Skinwalker Ranch, as a trusted friend and advisor to Brandon Fugel for over 25 years. Bryant is a vital part of the day-to-day operations on the ranch. Ladies and gentlemen, the dragon.
Enter the dragon.
Enter the dragon. Bryant, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Fantastic.
Doing good, man. It's been a little bit since you've been back. How are you feeling?
Doing all right.
Yeah.
Hot. Hot as hell out here. But
is it hot?
No.
Are you working on the ranch this summer?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, usually summer. Has production started?
No, hasn't started.
Okay. Is it soon starting, you think?
Ooh.
Oh, okay. All right. Interesting. Oh boy.
Ooh.
All right. Well, hey, I got a poker game that I want to invite you to, Dragon. I'm kidding. All right. So what I wanted to do, and UFO Jane should be here in a couple minutes, but real quick, what I wanted to do, because I know Jazz had a ton of questions about last week's episode, and we were talking behind the scenes, Bryant, about there were all of these things that Jazz was bringing up. But yeah, I could have answered for you guys, and we tried. Jazz at the last second was like, "Man, I wish Dragon was here," and that's why I had sent a last second request last week, but it didn't work out for obvious reasons because it was the last second request.
But I honestly wasn't paying attention to my Twitter notifications, so I could have done it. I just saw it way too late, so sorry.
Dude, no, that's cool, man. You're too cool for school. I get it. You're too cool for school. Okay, so Jazz, if we can, real quick, let's recap maybe some of the things that you found weird about that episode.
Oh, from last week?
Yeah, with the generators and the light bulbs and the Tesla machine. If
you want me to start, we can.
Yeah.
Dragon, a big question that my wife and she's in the chat right now and reiterating some of these things. I've worked in electronics my entire life, power generation. The setups that you had going, not in this week's episode, in the previous one, with the huge current fields that were being created with the Tesla fields and things like that. I went and did some digging, and it looks like for the large...
No digging.
No, I was doing research digging.
Okay. Sorry.
The amount of power it takes to generate more than a 2-foot arc, it's an immense amount of energy. We're looking at oh God, I ripped that one page off.
No, it's
anyway,
okay.
It's a huge amount of energy to run a Tesla coil at that level, and we were debating, my wife and I. You've got like a car parked there. So, a car battery is not going to do that, but we did see some power lines. How were those Tesla units powered? Because that's a bunch of megawatts.
Right. So I actually watched last week's, and that's why I reached out and said, hey, I need to answer some questions. The disservice that we get from the editing is they don't give us enough like setup, you know what I mean, footage, because they don't think it's sexy for TV or whatever. It hurts the credibility of the science, which is a frustration to Travis and Eric. In fact, I got on the phone with Travis today because I wanted to be able to speak to this well. But so if you noticed in one of the drone shots where we were heading out, where the guy took his van behind, I was in the Jeep. I'm sorry, the lights go out in this place. I might have to go hit the button. So sorry.
No,
Check outside and make sure Sue Goff isn't out there in an ice cream truck, just to be safe.
So if you noticed with one of the drone shots, you saw I was pulling the black Jeep, and I had a 100 kilowatt diesel generator pulled behind it. It was so heavy it practically pulled the bumper off of the Jeep. So we went out, and so it was a big diesel powered, 100 kilowatt diesel generator. Then if you noticed getting out of the truck, Cameron, who actually, he's been doing Tesla coil things for 30 years. I don't think they gave him enough credit. He has a whole, that's what he does. I think he's also an associate of Travis Taylor from growing up in Alabama. He actually had a transformer that was claimed or recovered off of from a hurricane that came off of a power pole. So we hardwired into the generator, and then ran 220 into this transformer, and between that and ramping it, with the number of coils and the size of that Tesla coil, 100% Travis is like, we generated over 1 million volts coming out of that Tesla coil.
Yep, that totally makes sense. And I know that so much stuff gets left on the cutting room floor. You know, if there had even just been a panning shot of that, question wouldn't have even come up. But thank you for explaining that. About the Gilsonite, I work in journalism covering petroleum, covering the oil and gas industry. The whole thing about the Gilsonite, that was really weird to be there. In my experience and in my coverage, Gilsonite really isn't that weird. It's not like something that just comes off of meteors. If you are in an area that you find a lot of short and long chain hydrocarbons, if you go to the tar sands up in Canada, things like that, you get a ton of Gilsonite. So what did they find so unusual about the Gilsonite?
So honestly, you'd have to ask that question to I could probably get Travis on here for the last episode if we need to. I was talking to him today.
That'd be awesome.
Yes, please. Yes. Yes. Hold on. Yes.
If you don't want to get a word in edgewise, I'll get him on.
Okay.
Good to go.
Okay, the last one, because I was asked to cover the last stuff.
And I only say that because the way that it was explained to me, and I don't know because that's not my thing. I'm not a geologist, not my thing. He said that Gilsonite deposits are are not found in very many places. So, and he claims that it's, only places where known, like meteor strikes have happened and things like that. So look, you're probably more educated than I am, Jazz. You can ask him, you can have that debate. I don't want to speak to something that I don't have a clue about.
Fair,
they
totally fair enough
about it. So
that's fair.
I want to kick it over to these guys for this week's episode, but the last one, and we discussed it last week, but we went back and reviewed the previous episode. Correct me if I'm wrong. When the previous episode UAP sighting towards the end, it looked like you were outside when that happened.
I was outside.
I mean, you were out there and in visual range when everybody was like, "Oh, look at that! Look at that!" Were you actually looking?
I'm trying to
colored object.
I'm trying to. So not the one that on camera that we reviewed, correct?
The one on camera from the episode before this one.
No,
it was dark colored.
Yeah, no, that was something. No, that was totally different. And I did take notes because I saw the questions about, well, why did he say that it's convenient that he was looking at lightning on, a camera, and then all of a sudden we were reviewing and stuff like that. Actually, those cameras that were installed on the side of his trailer were installed by the production company because he was having all these weird.
Oh, I apologize, Dragon. That's a different one. Right towards the end of the episode before this one, there was this dark colored thing that showed up in the sky.
The one with the tail?
The one with the tail.
That looked organic?
Right. That was my big question. And it's not questioning like, oh my God, that's fake. Not at all. It's just the other ones look more like Tic Tacs that you've seen, like mechanical objects. That one didn't look like a plane or anything natural, and it wasn't a bird or anything. But it gave me the impression of being something kind of organic because it was dark colored and it was moving. And it wasn't a jet trail behind it. It was just like there was sort of something behind it that sort of flowed and moved. And it looked to me more mysterious even than the Tic Tacs. It looked kind of organic because it was kind of like weaving like that. And I wanted to know, do you remember seeing that yourself? And
you are talking about the footage we reviewed, not this previous Tesla coil episode, right? Where it kind of almost looked like it had like a smoky type.
And
it was the one.
Yeah, I think you saw
two different
cameras. Right.
Yeah, so
and it was on multiple cameras.
Yeah, none of us saw that live. That was strictly
nobody.
No. That was just picked up on the cameras. So you go back to that episode.
Okay.
It was when Travis came in and said, "Hey, I saw some crazy lightning storm on my cameras," and then we went to review that, and there was no lightning storm whatsoever at that time. And then we kept going through the footage, and that's when it showed up on his camera. So then we flipped to the one that looks that direction from the back of the command center, and that's when we saw the better angle of it. So
okay, I apologize. I think from the editing again, because there's only so much time in the show to put footage in, it kind of made it look like people were looking up, and then you go to the footage and like people saw it. I was just curious what your impressions were, but if nobody saw it,
they may have flashed back to another time when we were. Honestly, I'd have to go through and watch it again.
Yeah.
But I found that one of the most amazing shots of the entire season.
That was pretty cool because it was two cameras, and it
two
was
cameras
two
from
different angles. Yeah.
Yep.
But it was so weird. It wasn't like a Tic Tac. It was almost a little snake-like,
right?
Yep. And I thought that one had me on the edge of my seat. So
cool.
Michael, let's bring in our next guest, shall we?
Absolutely. For those of you just joining us, we're going to go ahead and reset the room real quick. We've got an amazing show for you. The Dragon, Bryant Arnold, has just joined us. He's the Chief Security Officer on Skinwalker Ranch and a trusted friend of Brandon Fugel. And he's here joining us today to help us break down last week's episode. And then we're going to go through this week's episode 9, I believe, of Skinwalker Ranch. We've also got the extraordinary UFO Jane joining us. She is a Texas UFO researcher. Her name is Jane Kyle. She's got documented over 1,000 UFO cases, and she hosts the YouTube show, The Weird UFO Show. Welcome, Jane.
Oh, you're muted,
you're
Jane?
muted.
She's muted.
Oh,
Yep, there she goes. She got
Hey
it.
guys.
There we go.
Hey, Jane. And by the way, Jane's having an interview tomorrow as well on her channel with the Dragon.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. One-on-one.
I'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yep, so that,
I mean, watching.
4 Pacific. I'm used to typing it out over and over. 6 Central and 7 Eastern. So
sweet. Yeah, we'll definitely send us a link and
Hey,
we'll share
don't
the heck
forget
out of it.
about 5 Mountain Time because that's where I am.
Yeah, everybody always forgets Mountain
I've
Time.
been talking to you in California time. And you need Mountain Time.
Yeah, and you saw when we first talked about it, I did my math backwards, so I'm sorry about that.
Man, time
And
zones have
I'm
really
not
been
in
messing me up.
California at all. I'm in Texas, so that made no sense whatsoever.
So we
we
do want to
were
go
like
Central Time, I
aliens
understand.
trying to decode.
All right, I'm gonna flip on a decent light because
Do it, buddy. Take your time.
One second.
Take your time. Okay. All right, you guys. So let's. Alec, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
Yeah?
I got a couple questions for the Dragon when he gets his lights back on.
Cool.
But
Cool.
I'm just excited to talk about Skinwalker Ranch. I think it's been a pretty good season. I'm with Rather kind of not giving you a knockdown Lou a little bit for your science scores.
Okay.
Saying it's not very scientific. I think it's been very scientific.
Okay.
And
Fair enough.
Fair
enough. I didn't even know you watched the show, Alex. So okay, great. This is
now
great.
I like Alec a lot.
I already like you, Dragon. So now we're just gonna be best of buddies.
Well, let's go ahead. I mean, Alec. So, what question do you have for the Dragon?
Yeah. Well, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah.
Love the show. Love what you guys do. I'm wondering, kind of just aside from the whole like science aspect of it, is it difficult sometimes for you guys to reconcile like your lived experience versus what people come up and ask you about after only watching like the hour-long show that they get every week?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's the nature of it. When you're not self-producing something and you are at the mercy of the editors who they have their own ideas of what the general public wants to see or what's understandable from a science standpoint that they want to make, exciting and, cool for TV type of stuff. It's definitely frustrating. That's why I love this opportunity. I have no problem with people criticizing because I have the same criticisms. I spoke, like I said, I called Travis because I wanted to speak to correctly the question about the power output and things of that nature. And both he and I have had so many people say, "Oh, that was such a cool episode with, the rockets and everything like that." And hey, Jason with Lock Precision, who was one of our rocket guys, is on right now.
Oh, nice.
Anyway,
is Dave okay? By the way, did Dave?
Yeah.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Anyway, so I appreciate the questions because I get the same frustrations. Like the rockets thing, yeah, it went well, but there was so much other cool stuff that they could have shown that sometimes I think they get a little bit lazy in their editing process. They get one shot and use it multiple times, whatever it may be. So yeah, it's hard because, the questions that come out and the criticisms and everything, we know what we shot. That's why I'm happy to go on, with you guys and talk about this stuff because I want to be able to clarify some things, but at the end of the day, people are either going to want to believe it or they're going to want to throw shade.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just how it is.
Well, yeah, that's why I always say, man, God, it would be awesome if History Channel just produced an after show with you guys where you guys get to talk about the episode for an hour
and
after the show.
take questions and like you can walk through.
Yeah,
Yeah, clear up so much.
Then what would you guys do though?
Or just director's cut.
I don't want to put you out of job.
Really long, extended director's cut.
That's true. It would put us out of a job. So, Alec, did you have another question for Dragon?
Well, yeah, just kind of along those lines. Is there like one big thing that you wish had made the cut that didn't in either the first season or this one?
I mean, to me, a lot of like the human interest side of it stuff is really appealing because I've met with a lot of these people. And sure, we can hit experiment after experiment and do what we can. But I think really the human side of it's cool. So we had, a couple different Native American gentlemen out that really they told the story through the view of their ancestry and their culture and everything, and things they said correlated with a lot of the same things. Like they talked about first man is what they call, if you want to say the Adam character in Christianity, whatever, traveling across, the country or wherever to the ocean on a rainbow bridge that, and they have pictures of it. It looks like a portal type of thing that we would call a portal now, things like that. So I really found that interesting. And, Skinwalker Ranch it's named that because of the Native American side of it. And so it was, you hear that perspective. Some of that, there was two really great things. That was season one. It never made it to air because I guess it didn't follow the storyline of what they were trying to do. There's all sorts of little things. I mean, they've kept to what we've mostly done, but like even for example, this season we had Stephen Wall, who was the nephew of the Sherman family that came out, and he spent a long time with us and shared a lot of his recollection of things that happened. And I've seen that a lot of people say, oh, wait, I'm sorry. If he said he was that age, the timeline doesn't match, so on and so forth. He took us into the basement. He hadn't been there since he left the ranch as a kid. He took us into the basement, that creepy-ass basement where they had the cement.
That weird.
Yes.
That's where he lived with his cousin because there wasn't room in that little house. So he slept on that in that creepy basement, talked about hearing things. And in fact, he's like, I wonder if it's still here. And he pointed, and up on the heating duct where it was wrapped in some sort of, cloth stuff, probably asbestos from back in the day, he had written his name in there and the date that he was there. And he hadn't been back in forever.
Wow.
He couldn't have done that. And that was all caught on camera. It was a really cool,
why did they cut that?
It was a really cool, poignant moment that never made it. And it takes away from the credibility of these people. Yeah. And it takes away from some of the really cool stuff. I mean, it was an emotional thing. He started to tear up because he was like a kid that had nowhere else to go, and the Shermans take him in as their own, and then he has all these crazy experiences and stuff like that. It was one of my favorite things, and it got cut. I was pretty pissed, actually.
Jane, did you have any questions from last week that you wanted clarification on from last week's episode before we dive into this week's? Yeah.
Well, that's so hard for me to do because I'm just remembering all
like that was last week.
Yeah, no, I just figured I'd ask. It's okay. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I just wanted to make sure.
Jane, if you want, we can talk about tomorrow too.
Yeah.
We'll think of them in half an hour from now.
For tomorrow, we can totally dive into this week's episode, which is pretty fresh.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's do it. All right. Well, this week was rocket time. Like it was, they should have called the show Rockets. Like the name of the episode. Name of the episode was let me see. I got it written down. Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. Like that. Rockets. I love it. So let's see here. So who wants to start with the Rockets? First of all, I thought this was one of the coolest episodes. It was just all one experiment, which I found fascinating. Different versions of the experiment, which I thought was cool. I liked all of the instruments that were put into these rockets. That was also awesome. But I guess we could go one rocket at a time because they all had different heights and instruments on them. Did anybody have any thoughts?
Well, whenever you get a bunch of dudes, whenever you get a bunch of dudes on a ranch together and just get to blast giant phallic symbols into the sky, it's a good time, right?
It's a good time. I mean, look at his face. Look at his face, dude. Like that was the manliest episode I think I've ever seen.
You could tell everybody was just so excited. Like Eric was like giddy and like giggling the whole time. It was hilarious.
And it was great. It was great. Like when y'all were looking into the back of the truck and Travis was like, "There's some rockets right there."
Oh my God! Did you see his face? Did you see his face? It lit up. I've never seen his face do that. And by the way, what's going on with Travis Taylor's hair? And like when we go to confessionals, like, well, and then we went to the ranch, and you wouldn't believe what happened. His hair is parted, really, really mellow. But then when we go out to the field, I don't know what I did. This switch mid-season, but somebody started spiking his hair. What was going on?
So if you go back to season 1, his hair was always spiked. He doesn't own a comb. The guy does not own a comb. In fact, one of the funniest things to me this season was there was an episode. He's like, man, it was crazy. It made all the hair on my body stand on end, and I'm like, it's still standing on end. Look at it, you know.
That was wild.
So, so some of those, you know, because we, as like Brandon and all of us, we didn't want the whole Robert Clotworthy Ancient Aliens narration to our show. We didn't want to be. Could it be a and we stuff like that. So they decided to have, because Travis is the guest, if you will, kind of narrate from that standpoint. So some of that is done in studio green screen after the fact.
Ooh, that's a nice little nugget.
With kind of the backstory.
Right. After they shot it, after they've edited everything, then they might have them come back in and fill in the blanks where they need. Yeah,
stuff. to kind of narrate it through.
That
way you don't have the whole, that whole narrator over dramatized stuff that.
Right. Well, yeah, they do on other shows. Yeah. Right. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Big Oak Island fan, but they do it real bad.
The non-rocket stuff initially. I do have one question that my wife put in, and she's watching right now. We always watch the show together and rewatch it and go over it. And one of her questions that's not direct, it's partially rocket related. She asked, and I have to sleep here tonight, Dragon, so I would like to get the question in. How were the cows monitored while all these rockets were going off? And was anybody watching them to A, make sure they were okay, and B, see if they were reacting and running around? What happened with the cows?
So the cows,
I was very worried about the cows.
So the cows were actually, it's 512 acres, right? They were down at the west end of the property, but we do have GPS trackers on all the ear tags. You noticed in one of the episodes when we brought the cows in, we GPS tagged all their ears.
Right.
And so we monitor them that way. And then Tom and Candace, the caretakers that live on the ranch all the time, they were actually up on the mesa. They did a little bit of recovery, and then they went and monitored the livestock the rest of the time while we were shooting rockets off.
So the cows are still all fine.
Cows are just fine. Yeah, we didn't have any cows.
There you go, honey. I asked Dragon. He just answered your question for you live on air. I'm good for tonight.
I have a question, and this is in regard to this is a question that Aaron Desario sent me earlier, and he's dying to get this answer. So when the gentleman who was on the recon team, on the rocket recon team, was heading out, and then his phone again gets hacked. Caleb, yes. His phone again gets hacked. Have you guys reached out to Apple to see if they can dissect that, or if there's any, Apple technicians involved in seeing what was going on with that?
Yeah.
Or has anybody decided to just do a fundraiser for Caleb to get him a new phone? Because it looks kind of broken.
It was on our list as well, Dragon, by the way, just so we can pile on the phone. Does anyone have one without a smash screen?
Oh man, yeah, almost everybody has a smash screen phone. There it is.
Okay, that's fast.
Never broken a screen.
Oh man, I just brought a whole new phone because I smashed it to a million
pieces. So, Quint's answer to the questions. Yes, we've reached out. I think that we're gonna probably investigate some of that more going forward. And then and even going back, when I was backstage, I was listening to you guys talking about the media outlets and everything like that. The UFO thing is real. We actually, on Monday, I spent my quote holiday for the full day with a team from a major news outlet, national news outlet, a very prominent person. I won't say because I'm not going to get in the middle of political stuff at all. So, but to do a feature on the UFO phenomenon, and they were real they basically had a handheld camera and they wanted to talk to us, and it was really good. So anyway, the only reason I bring that up with the phone thing is I was sitting at the table talking to Caleb, and he pulled his phone out, and I said, dude, if you show up, if we do this filming thing again and you show up again, there's no way in hell you're bringing that phone. Because one more time. I have people asking me to shoot the pink phone out of his hand because they're sick of seeing me crack the screen. So
yeah, well,
it's still fascinating because it's not possible to break past that. Yeah, as Aaron said, it's a lock screen. You can't bypass that. So the fact that this keeps happening, it seems beyond a glitch. And this is one of the things that actually, like, if I was curious if Apple was involved, if we actually had some information back from Apple to say what they think is actually going on, I think that'd be helpful, right?
Well, I think a way to maybe solve it is take his SIM card out, put it in another iPhone, and see if it does the same thing. Like, yeah, I think that would be maybe the best experiment to run.
It's such a strange phenomenon. I used to do like IT on phones and everything, and when the San Bernardino shooting happened, they had the guy's phone. It took the FBI almost a month to crack it, and there were even questions as to whether they could do it in the first place without Apple's help. And the fact that the FBI was able to crack it was like massive news in the cybersecurity world. To just blow through someone's passcode not once, twice, but like 3 times in a row, and then just to like shift through all their information and apps and dial it, it's unheard of. There's nothing that we possess that can do that. There's no technology.
It's not totally unheard of. So I'm sure you weren't on this stream. I don't remember what stream I shared. It was whatever episode the phone broke down. It may even be Dragon, the one you were on. But I had a weird, spooky phenomenon with my broken phone. It was a screen with issues, and it would just sit there, and it was like a ghost was just on it, just going through my different apps. And I don't remember if it did the initial passcode, but it definitely did some kind of login. And then it went into my Facebook, went and changed the cover photo from my Facebook to these cupcakes that my mother-in-law had made that I had in my album. And that just happened without me even touching it. And eventually I fixed it. And I will say, obviously it was broken. Obviously it was glitched, but it was also one of those just really weird
Yeah, but that's not hacking, Jane. That's not hacking. That's a poltergeist.
Well, I assumed it was my
be honest.
phone. Yeah, no, I assumed it's my phone.
How boring.
Aaron Desarios.
That same thing. I'm kind of debunking basically the Skinwalker Ranch.
Well, I mean, maybe the crack in the screen has something to do with it. Maybe some kind of electromagnetic, pull there in the glass that can then interact with the touchscreen. Because there's, when you look at a phone, there's layers to the screen. You have the glass, there's a touch layer, there's sensors, there's the LEDs themselves.
Right.
And so, a crack in the top layer in the glass could interact with the layers underneath. And if there's an electrical charge going across the surface, it can get pulled down into those cracks.
Right. No, that's a good point. But also what I was going to say is, like, Aaron Desario is pushing back. He's like, that's not possible. There's a security chip in it. If the phone is acting strange and you think it's connected to the person who owns the phone, then take the phone out of the equation. And if he's got a new phone and it starts doing the same thing, now you have something that is insanely weird, if that makes sense. I'm not saying... I'm not trying to knock it. I'm just saying there should be some sort of process to it. Let's eliminate what it could be.
I don't want to distract anybody thinking I'm an expert. Just for the record, I was making a couple of jokes there with Jane. It takes me like 5 tries to get into this. So I don't know how any of it works. I'm old and I'm grumpy, and just saying, I was not implying that I know something about poltergeists or phones.
Fair enough. Okay, so we got past Caleb's phone, but that was a great question because I think, people, I'm sure, Dragon, how sick are you of that phone? Because look at his face. Like, I love it. I feel like we get more of the Dragon that people want on this show than on the actual History Channel. I think we got more Dragon moments on this show.
Oh, I don't know. All they ever do is pan to me to make
That's not the reaction shout. Just
to react, man.
Honestly. Do you have a dedicated cameraman that follows you around that just pushes in on your face for the reaction?
Oh, please say yes, Dragon. Please.
I'll just wear a GoPro facing up like I'm on crap like that.
Yes, please.
My favorite dragon face recently was when I think it was actually what we were talking about earlier when y'all caught the UAP from 2 different cameras and then they cut to dragon.
Oh,
It was
I remember that one.
awesome. It was
I remember that face.
Wait! Cut to dragon!
Yeah. Yep. That's
Pretty
about
much
right.
there.
That's about right. Hey, bro.
I know. I have a stupid expressive face.
No, we love it. We
Dude,
love it.
It's the fun. Honestly, I just want to put you in a room where people say confounding things and just get your reaction to them. Honestly, it could be.
That's where I am right now.
I mean, dude, we could, yeah. We could do a 24-hour live stream of this, and it would go gangbusters.
Dragon reacts to confounding statements.
Yeah, exactly. So, real quick, Dragon, if you could do me a huge solid, and then we'll reset the room. We have a huge fan of our show, and her mother is an enormous fan of yours. She watches the show every week. I believe she's 89 years old, if I'm not mistaken. I could have the age wrong, but her name is Patricia Turner. Can you just give a little shout out to Patricia? It would make her absolute day.
Hey, Patricia, thank you so much for watching the show. It means a lot. I appreciate you being a fan and not a hater. But no, I really appreciate it. I've had some really cool opportunities, just in normal walks of life, different states, things like that, of having really cool people come up to me. So I'm sure you're one of those. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it very much.
Oh, thank you, man. I know she appreciates that. I'm sorry. I'll never do that again. I'll never do it again. Okay. So let's reset the room, and then we'll get more into these rockets, and then we'll give some scores.
Fantastic. Well, for those of you just joining us, we are reviewing The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. We've got the one and only Dragon, who's the chief security officer on Skinwalker. Whether or not they're filming, he is there ensuring that nobody breaks on to the property and disturbs any Skinwalker at the ranch. We've also got UFO Jane with us today to review the episode. UFO Jane has documented over 1,000 UFO cases over the years and interviews UFO experts. And she'll be interviewing the Dragon for a full-length interview tomorrow at 3 p.m. Mountain Time? Is that right?
No, 5 p.m.
Damn it!
5 p.m.
No, here, I'll do the math for you. So 4 Pacific, 5 Mountain, 6 Central, and 7 Eastern.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dragon.
I think Dragon's going to have to take my job resetting this room. For those of you just joining, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you click the bell. We've got another amazing show right here in the Singularity Lab tomorrow. We've got Mark Sokol, who's going to be joining us, and he is actually working on he wants his company Falcon Propulsion to be the first company to develop anti-gravity aircraft. And so he's going to be joining us tomorrow to talk about that. He's also working on some things associated with warp detectors. So that'll be super interesting. So make sure you subscribe and click the bell for that. And then we've also got Alex Sears with us right now. He is the chief UFO correspondent at the Daily Caller and has researched UAPs for several years. He's also very well versed on the Hill. So if you have any questions about politics or Washington, D.C., that is your dude. All right. What else do we got, Lou?
Well, I was going to say also, don't forget, and I know it's weird, right? Unidentified Celebrity Review today is on the Singularity Live channel.
I forgot.
You might be asking yourself, what the hell happened? Well, we had a huge technical meltdown on my channel. Well, things should be back to normal come Friday, but we had to emergency switch over to this channel. So that's why it's so important that you ring the bell on both the channels, just in case something like this happens in the near future again. I'm hoping it doesn't, but that way you guys are alerted if and when we do make the switch. We're also going to download this recording, this show. I'm going to put it back on my channel, so then that way you guys, nobody misses out. And then we'll also put the podcast version of the show out as well, which is available on Spotify now, guys. Yes. So if you want to check out the Spotify, just put in Unidentified Celebrity Review, and you will find it. And also, we got a little sneak peek of merch on my Patreon. We got hacked, so there was an hour's worth of extra access on my Patreon today. We're going to be posting those sneak peeks of the t-shirts on Twitter here after the show. We gave a little sneak peek at the beginning after the technical difficulties. So yeah, thank you guys again. Like, all of your support, all of your help goes toward doing these shows 5 days a week. Again, we're a public access channel. We need viewers like you to make it work. So everything is appreciated. We truly love it. With that said, also next week we got Grant Cameron, Richard Dolan, James Ian Doley, Lou Elizondo's coming with his father and my dad. We're going to be having a discussion about Miami and Cuba, and I'm going to sneak a couple UAP questions to Dad and see what kind of answers we can get at him, because I think that's a fascinating thing to see what his father thinks about this story and about what his son's doing, So tune in for that. That's going to be a killer time. We're doing that on Thursday before the Singularity Lab. So again, ring the bell so that way you guys don't miss any of this amazing content that we're doing. Other than that, we can get back to it.
Yeah, so we were talking about the giant rockets that we were sending up, and I think you guys cleared, 12,000 feet or something like that?
In fact, there was a couple others that they didn't show that actually went a little bit higher, and they were really cool. I was disappointed at night. We saved some of the really high-flying ones because they had the guys from Lock Precision, like I said, that came out and did our rock stuff. Amazing guys, by the way. They even did some with some cool, like, green propellant in the booster, so you could see the thing going and everything like that. Like I said, there was a lot of cool stuff that
they got cut.
Unfortunately, didn't make it. But yeah, in fact, that nighttime rocket you guys saw, the purple one with all the glow sticks and everything like that on it.
Yeah,
that thing landed 1.5 miles away, and so it looked like we just walked over and picked it up. Oh no! We hiked through the dark with the GPS tracker for 1.5 miles.
See, that's the footage I want. I want the camera guy who caught the dragon trekking through the middle of the desert at night. I cannot imagine his facial expression for that.
There would have been a lot of bleeps during that one.
Yeah, no, my God, that's what this show needs. It needs more bleeps from the dragon. Make it a little more spicy, Show what's really happening. Also, let's bring in Rather for the second half hour of the show, because I know Rather watches the show, and he's probably got some questions, so I don't want to leave him out for the whole show. Thanks for being here, Rather. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Yeah, this is glad to be in the same StreamYard as Dragon.
Yeah, well, you're blessed. Now, do you have any questions for Dragon while you've been sitting back there?
Well, yeah, coming back to that one UFO video on the end of episode 8, they ended with that, but then they didn't bring it up at all on episode 9. Can we expect more in episode 10 maybe, or was that just?
I don't. They may, like, I haven't seen 10. I mean, I know what it's about, and it's probably one of the craziest things that we've had happen. So they may bring it back as kind of a, okay, here's all the things that led to the possibility of this or whatever. I honestly, I don't know. I have no say in how they put it out and how they edit it or anything like that. So I hope so.
That's fair. I got another. Well,
yeah, no, go for it, Rather.
Well, I had another question about the other UAPs that are observed, like, in the sky. Do you have, like, telescopes or anything that you could look and maybe get a clearer picture at that when that stuff appears, or is the video cameras kind of all that's
right
there?
So we have more recent. The crazy thing about it is, in that setting, you're so focused on what you're doing and what you're being told to do and everything, and all of a sudden someone sees something, and the types of cameras that they have and everything like that are these big shoulder-mounted, massive things. So by the time they swing up and can get, I mean, most of the time they don't hang out there for very long. It's usually a fleeting glimpse. That's definitely a frustration of mine too. I'm like, can we really not, Hey, so we've invested with going forward for the investigation on the ranch with a lot of sky facing. We're trying to create a full panoramic sky facing view that not only can record, but has a little bit more zoom and stuff like that. So it's not somebody trying to hurry and get a shot of something that's there for just a couple of seconds.
Have you guys looked into Sky Hub at all? I'm sorry to jump in, but
So the problem
if you're familiar with SkyHub, you know, it's like
the problem
really
with
good stuff.
The problem with SkyHub is they want to own any data that's collected.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So that was the problem, you know, with the whole Osiris deal, utilizing SkyHub and things like that, is they want to they don't want to give you the raw data. You can, you know, it's almost like a subscription type of a thing.
Right.
So we want to own all of our own data and footage.
I had no idea.
And so that's why we haven't engaged with SkyHub at all.
Well, I think, couldn't you, I mean, I think SkyHubs are, I could be wrong on this, but I think the SkyHubs themselves can be pretty much hacked and open sourced. And you guys can turn them into whatever the hell you want. I think,
right. So,
I'm sure
we have our own version. We have our own version.
I figured, yeah. So let me ask you, Dragon, was this your favorite episode so far in this whole season to shoot?
To shoot? It was a lot of fun. It was a long day. I mean, it was.
You're hauling rockets across the desert.
I mean, we probably didn't finish till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning with all of it.
Yeah, that's.
And so yeah, it was a lot of fun though. It was fun. They let us build some. Like the black one they showed with the little camera view coming down. That was one I got to build, and it was my idea to shove this little GoPro in the nose cone and stuff, and it turned out great.
That's awesome.
So that was a lot of fun. Like I said, the guys that were there, and you know, the reaction that they had physically to the thing was, you know, it was definitely a fun one, but it was a really, really long day for sure.
Yeah.
Well, how many?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go for it. Rather. Sorry.
Well, something that really occurred to me is that, like, did you have to sign any like medical disclosures or saying that, you know, if
everyone that comes on the property signs a non-disclosure and liability waiver, non-negotiable. If they want to be part of it, they sign a liability waiver that even covers down to harming their spiritual well-being or their religious beliefs, because it might shake something that they previously believed. So there's a pretty ironclad non-disclosure and liability waiver.
You can't talk even if you're dead.
Have any of the crew members that have come on the ranch, either part of the TV crew or somebody that's there, you know, helping you guys conduct an experiment, have any of them reported any hitchhikers?
The hitch. See, I can't. I can't answer that. I'm sorry. I just can't.
That's fine.
Ooh, keep an eye out for episode 10.
It has nothing to do with TV, but you know, people, you know, when you're talking about medical episodes or things like that, I can't talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That
Understand.
makes sense.
So just a couple other things that happened in the episode. We got Junior Hicks's son, Ward Hicks. What was that face for, Dragon?
No, those people are great, but the way that they put it across, showing, you know, these crayon drawings and stuff like that, it didn't do it justice. I didn't really like the way it was framed terribly. So, I'll be honest with you too. I wasn't a huge fan of it, only because it confuses it to me as to why the caretakers for the animals are listening to the testimony and going over that stuff. Shouldn't it be somebody that, you know, like a real investigator or somebody that can ask the right questions or look at it from a different angle? Yeah, I mean, we got the data and stuff like that. I don't know what the story is. The disappointing thing to me is, so Jim Morse, the guy with the hat and the vest and everything like that.
Which we didn't see a lot of this season.
No, and he is responsible for all of those relationships. I mean, he's the one. And so the fact that they march in and make it look like those guys, I'm disappointed for him. Because literally the way that Junior Hicks was just, I mean, he was an old man, and his little wife, Jim Morse, would go pick them up and bring them out to the ranch, and then take them and buy them ice cream afterward and take them home to build that relationship. And it was amazing, and it was really cool. And Junior was I mean, there are boxes and boxes and boxes of data that he collected for all those years out there. And so
also, Jim Morris is also like an investigator. I mean, he's sort of the historian on the ranch, right?
And well, he is the relationship guy for the entire Uinta Basin. I mean, any of the Native Americans we've had out there, like that Roland McCook guy that had that was Jim Morris.
Yeah.
All of these people, it is because he has spent years crafting and fostering relationships with the area, and it's a reason why we have such a good relationship with the Native Americans in the area is because of that. Right. And I think that's another part of it that kind of gets left because maybe Jim has got his few lines that he's good with and stuff like that, but yeah. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to dwell on that. It's
no. I mean, Bryant, I think the best moment. Honestly, the best moment of this season, one of my favorite moments, if not my favorite, was when Jim Morris was given the history of the ranch. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it was the most screen time he's had the entire season, and I don't know why they don't bring him back because it seems like you're right. He's sort of the glue that connects everything and his perspective on what, especially when those drawings, like you're saying, like I would have much rather, nothing against Candace, Lindy, and those guys, but they're just the wrong people. I don't understand why they're doing that when you got such an amazing resource in that guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I blame you because you edited it and you produced it and you're the director, Dragon. Fix it! Fix it!
It might have to be on HBO or something like that if that was my...
The Dragon cut. Somebody said earlier, I think it was Jazz's wife, the Dragon cut. We need to see it.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Oh, an HBO version of this.
Calling for the Dragon cut forever, so yes.
You know what, Michael? An HBO version of this.
An HBO version of Skinwalker Ranch.
Like where we could hear him curse, we could see all the data, like all of that
we
stuff.
Could watch Travis getting drunk and then his hangover the next day. That would be dope.
Or just the mysterious underbelly of the Mormon church, as it takes over all of Utah, stuff like that, because it's HBO. So
you're really putting Brian on the spot here.
Come on, I'm having fun. I'm throwing a Sopranos type of scenario out there. I'm not being serious, guys. Jesus. Okay. So the thing that I found really cool about this episode was Dave Barber. He's on right now. Architect. He's here. Yeah. There he is. Okay, so Dave, you had one of the coolest moments of the entire season, man. It was I mean, I couldn't see it on camera, but I didn't doubt what he was saying, and so it seemed like through editing that he got two big rushes of like the heebie-jeebies, as I like to call them.
Yeah, it was a physical. It was an absolute physical reaction to stuff. In fact, I don't know why they didn't say it, but he described it, and on one of my, those side interview things, he described it as if he was sitting in an MRI machine. He felt that sort of, tingle throughout his body and everything, and it really started to affect him to the point where we had to get him down off the hill because it was, and he had wave of it, like a few waves, not even only while we were doing the rockets. He went out by Homestead too, and all of a sudden, started feeling, crazy stuff. It's interesting because, and we say this from the beginning, different individuals have a different reaction to the ranch. I one of the things that I'm really pushing for is that everybody have some sort of a complete panel done on their biology of their body, because why can I be standing right next to Travis and Tom and they are feeling crazy things and I don't feel anything? And I think that would be, if there is a difference, that's a story. And if there's not a difference, that in itself is a story. Why these guys are not me type of thing.
Well, I think the answer is pretty clear, Dragon. Who the fuck would want to mess with you? Like a paranormal, physical. Who would want to mess with you?
Can I tag on that for a second?
Yeah.
Just for probably what might be a little bit of an uncomfortable question, but
go for it.
The show, your methods are all very data-driven and focused, which I appreciate. I'm kind of a nuts and bolts kind of guy. Can we get radar returns? Can we pick up this data, that data, temperature, all this stuff? With the weirder stuff that happens, Dragon, and I haven't really seen a lot of it on the show on camera that makes it through, are there discussions that go on, like maybe some of this is stuff that can't be measured in scientific matters? Is it possible that we're looking at something that, isn't going to get detected because it could be, I don't want to use the word religious or interdimensional or whatever,
Or
but
ghost,
beyond
whatever.
beyond our current technological capability?
Sure.
Is that a discussion that goes on?
Yeah, and that's one of the frustrations too, is because, I mean, the crux of the quote investigation is to try and find the little fingerprints and clues that are leading us to what could possibly be causing it and stuff like that. And most days it is a shrug of the shoulders and a raise of the hands to say, I don't know what in the world's going on. But from the scientific background and those guys, they want to be able to, use science and use the instruments to see if there is correlation. Because, as Erica said, correlation doesn't necessarily mean causation.
Right.
And so, that's why everything's always instrumented up, and we always check that sort of things when stuff happens. But, there are times when, stuff goes down and we don't have, instruments there to measure it all.
Yeah.
One question,
or anything that can be measured.
Thanks.
Yeah, one question I have for you, Dragon, is going back a couple of episodes when you guys were doing the nighttime look-throughs of Homestead 2 and playing the rabbi's prayer, playing that through the speakers. What goes through your head when you're like standing in the middle of Homestead 2 and then suddenly all around you the temperature just drops 10 degrees?
That was one of the most strange, interesting things that's ever happened. I mean, I haven't, like, as far as an experiencer on the ranch, sure, I've had a few, but I sometimes joke that I'm UFO repellent because stuff doesn't happen when I'm there, things of that nature. But that was pretty strange. I mean, it was a hot, evening, and as we walked to within, just a few feet of the front of the homestead, it was like a cold, like walking into a walk-in freezer. And yet it almost felt like the cold was like, you start to get cold from the outside. It almost like it just enveloped and came from the inside out. So yeah, it's creepy. And it was weird because it was almost like we were chasing whatever it was, because we walked into the homestead around and went around the back. And by the time we came back out of the front, it was warm again. So yeah,
it's wild.
Yeah, that sort of stuff definitely is the type of thing that makes you question, what could possibly be doing that sort of thing. So yeah, it's unnerving a bit.
Jane, any thoughts on this episode?
No, this has been really good to listen, and I'm holding back a little bit because I know I'll get to ask more questions tomorrow.
Okay.
But I always wonder with Brandon, like the owner, he comes in on the helicopter for the update, and he's usually really good with the update and impressed with everything. Is there ever, you probably can't answer this, is there ever like disappointment, like with the, after the rocket test, like expecting at least as many UAP sightings as like the first time around, that, or disappointment in general, maybe that has to be held back from maybe not exciting.
Yeah, I've heard him say "what the fuck" many times.
That's
the HBO version.
Yeah, so
that makes sense.
No, I have many times, but in this setting, he wants to focus on the intriguing, the exciting stuff. But yeah, the amount of investment he's put in there with, the return on that is, there never will be like a full return on what he's invested. But funny you should speak of that, because you guys asked the question, well, Brandon Fugel not know how to open a door? Brandon.
Yes, I did say that. That was me.
That's just 100%.
Thank God that was Lou. I thought it was me.
That's just 100% a respect thing.
Yeah, no,
that's my thing. It's
I
not
figured
like
it was, man.
That's just, he's, like I said, one of my closest friends, and it's a respect thing.
Well,
That's it.
I just thought it was hilarious because it's it was funny
I
because
know.
it's on a TV show, and I noticed that every time he lands, you're like, "There you go, sir." You know, which is cool. I mean, he's your boss, he's your buddy, and you guys are best friends. You've been best friends.
It was
since
funny.
high school.
It was funny because it was the one time where you were pointing it out because he walks up and then Brandon like looks at the door and then looks like a dragon.
He may have. It's probably because I do it every time. He was probably.
Well, thanks to you, Brandon Fugel doesn't know what doors are anymore.
Yeah, no, most of his doors open up and things like that.
Yeah, they're more wing shaped.
Yeah, they're way cooler than the doors I'm used to in that dumpy trailer.
I have a follow up.
Let's not get Dragon fired. Okay.
I have a quick.
There's not a chance.
I have a quick follow-up question, Dragon, regarding the investment. I know, obviously, we can't ask you about real numbers, but I am curious because, obviously, Brandon Fugel is a serious real estate investor. I mean, the guy knows how to flip properties. He knows big commercial real estate. He makes money. This guy makes money.
He's also insanely active in his community, not only from a political level, but from a charitable level.
Yep.
Got it. Okay, yeah, and I'm not trying to I'm not trying to say anything negative about that. My only point is most millionaire investors do not invest in things that are going to be money losers. And so I'm just curious what attachment emotionally he has to the ranch that he's willing to lose money on this.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, when Brandon and I've told him so many times that I've quoted, this is my opinion on him, he is the most successful 17-year-old kid you'll ever make. He really is, and he takes such joy in cool things. He's always been, like if you went into his office, the number of pop culture things he's purchased for an insane amount of money, movie props, everything like that, he loves that sort of thing. So he's always been intrigued by that sort of thing. He's a child of the, we're born in the 70s, child of the 80s, much like myself. So we love all that kind of stuff. That was when movies and all that kind of stuff were still cool. And so he had the opportunity. He was actually a different scientific, adventure he was trying to develop. He got introduced to some of the scientists that worked for the Bigelow team, and got introduced to Robert Bigelow went down to Bigelow Aerospace. They hit it off. Bigelow was getting to the point where he was done with the ranch, didn't want it anymore, and found that Brandon was intrigued by it and everything. And so Brandon had never had any experiences. He was one of those guys that says, "Hey, I've never experienced any of that, but this is pretty cool. I've got the means. I'll get it." And he actually kind of bought it with the idea of debunking the whole. Yeah. And so, it's just one of those things that he went in there, and very early on, he had an experience that is poignant. And I wish that, he talks about seeing with his eyes an actual craft above the mesa, and it shook him like crazy. And so between that and some physical experiences he and some of his guests had out there, then it just fired him up to where he's like, there's something to this, and I want to get to the bottom.
Well, let me ask you this: How long? And we got to get Dragon out of here in 5 minutes because
no, he actually has to go now because he's got a soccer game he's got to get to.
It's okay. I'll go the last 5. We're okay.
Okay, all right. Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna quickly ask. How long in this do you think he's gonna stay? I
don't see him ever getting rid of the property.
Huh.
Okay. Well, that's
unless something terrible happened to him.
Yeah.
Or, there's rumors that Bigelow got rid of it because it followed him home, and I've heard stories of him blaming like his wife's illness and ultimate passing due to his involvement with Skinwalker Ranch.
Right.
Do you see Brandon getting political about this? I'm just curious because Lou Elizondo, the whole story, and I know you got to go.
It's okay.
It's now developed into this huge government policy story that involves the Pentagon, intelligence agencies, all that. It's no longer a fringe thing. There's commissions going on. Do you see Brandon as someone who would have any interest in stepping up and going forward and going, you know, I could testify before the Senate Intelligence Committee. I have information. I have some data I could share if you think it's useful. Is he the kind of guy that would want to do that, or is he more of a hands-off, really don't want to get into the government thing?
I think that if the time comes where we have like a lot more definitive, like what we feel is, you know, rock solid, bulletproof. I mean, obviously he has his own experience, but we don't, you know, we have a saying, if it wasn't caught on camera, it didn't happen, right? That's kind of how the things work. But he would not be opposed to that. I know that he has been contacted by and spoken with officials very high up as far as that, with questions about what could possibly be going on at Skinwalker.
Dude, that's
Thank you.
Well, listen, we've only got a couple minutes, so I mean, yeah, if you want to help us get Brandon on the show, we'd love to talk to him. You know, the two of you guys, if that's possible, that would be killer.
I'll see. I mean, he's crazy busy.
Yeah. Or you said Travis, not Brandon.
Right. Yeah,
Travis.
No.
Brandon,
I just put you on the spot. I said the wrong name. I meant Travis.
No, it's okay. You know, honestly, I have no problem reaching out to either. If Brandon wants to do it, I think he is the most entertaining guy to talk to. I mean, if you've ever seen any of the other interviews he's done, he's amazing. And he's transparent and he's real and he's raw. He's great.
Well, we've talked to him for about 7 minutes on this show, but it was just a short window. He's already been on the show before. He was here for the Big Phone Home. He helped us with the political aspect of things.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, yeah, that's really what I'd love to pick his brain about, is just his political work in the arena. But yeah, man, I mean, look, we got the last episode next week. We'd love to send off season 2 in a huge bang, and then hopefully it's a good teaser for season 3.
Let me reach out. Let me reach out.
No pressure.
Let me reach out to Travis and see, you know, what he's willing to do. Like I said, he's a lot, so I'll just sit back and listen like I usually do.
He's a lot.
No, I love him. Like he's a dear friend, but he is a lot. You know, he's a lot.
Last episode, Dragon. Last episode. We are going to get a live alien, right? You're going to have a live alien.
Just say yes. Just say yes.
Just say yes.
My NDA won't allow me to say.
Okay, that's fair.
That means it's true. That means it's true.
Fair enough. It's true.
I want.
Wink and a nod.
Before I bounce, I want quick scores. That's what I want.
Ooh, okay. All right. Let's start with Jazz. Jazz, science score, entertainment score.
Science score went way up with the rockets and all that. Mm-hmm. I had questions we didn't get to, like the second to last rocket to disappear, but it was probably left on the cutting room floor. I'm bringing the science score up to 8.2.
They found that rocket, by the way.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, in the episode, yeah.
8.5
the entertainment score, I agree with Luis. I never go all the way to 10, but I did think this was the most entertaining episode of the season. Ooh. I'm going to go to a 9 on entertainment.
Wow. High score from Jazz this year. Excellent. Jane?
I totally agree. This was such an entertaining episode. Travis Taylor just talked like, we need bigger, better rockets. I don't know what just happened. Let's just keep launching rockets. It was so funny. And yeah, I mean, it's way over my head, like literally in every sense of the word. So the science, I didn't do enough Google research for a low science score. So I'm going to do like just a solid 8 science, like 8.5 entertainment. I don't think I've gotten higher than 8.5 for entertainment. So yeah, this is a good one.
Excellent. Rather?
When Eric Bard said that the lack of data is still data, I thought that was a great science moment. So I'm going to go 9 with science. And I could watch rockets launched all day. I'm going to go 10 for entertainment.
Yeah, excellent. Alec?
Yeah, I gotta say 9 for science. It was way up there. This was really great to see. Glad that we got the rocket guys in the chat tonight. That was awesome. I have to say 8 for entertainment, but only because I'm such a huge Tesla fan that last week's episode just kind of like peaked it for me. So sorry. The rockets are cool and all.
Don't it's interesting you say that. I know that I have notes from last week's. You wondered why Travis could speak about being a Tesla expert. I mean, he actually did an 8-episode show that was on History a couple years ago called The Tesla Files. That dude loves Nikola Tesla and has gone far and wide with it. So
nice. Well, there you go. Another little nugget. Michael.
Y'all are a bunch of assholes because you always put me on the spot with this science shit. So I gotta be honest, and I did love, there's nothing better than shooting a bunch of rockets into the sky. But we didn't. I mean, we got some data back, right? We gathered a little bit of data. It wasn't really what we were looking for, but again, and to your point, Alec, that was a great point. Even a lack of data is good data because it's factual. It's factual, right? Was that rather? That was rather. Oh, rather. So I gave it a 6 for science, and I gave it an 8 for entertainment. It was very entertaining. Last week, I think, was my favorite episode for entertainment, but this one was like a close second or third.
Okay. God, I can't remember what I gave last week for entertainment, but I'm kind of with rather. Like, it was just all rockets, which I thought was awesome. Like, I wanted bigger. I was waiting for Travis Taylor to be like, and now we stole Elon's skyrocket to go ahead and I thought for sure he's gonna whip out like something really cool. So that was, dude, it was entertaining. I'm gonna give it right.
Dragon saved the science when he came out and explained how they got the power for the Tesla stuff, because that was what was dragging me down. Now I feel a lot better about it.
Yeah,
that's true.
They don't do us very many good services. I mean, they do us a huge disservice by not giving a little bit more opportunity to explain what goes into it.
Yes,
you gotta show the elbow grease you guys put into it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of effort, man. That's so much effort.
The elbow grease and the setup, I think, could be some of the most interesting stuff. I don't know why they leave it out. I think it's a missed opportunity. But with that said, I'm going to give it a 9 for entertainment. Just one of the most entertaining ones of the season. And for science, I wish I had seen the data. Again, like we had Travis in the trailer going, the spectrum analyzer's going crazy. What does that mean?
Yeah,
what
I didn't like that part either.
What does it mean? So that's
UFO sighting.
No, we got a sighting of a genuine UAP. It looks like, which was awesome. So, but again, it's just I don't get to see. I don't. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 6.5 for science.
You know what? And what I appreciate is I want you guys to give the science like scores and things like that based off of what your understanding is, as well as what they've allowed to be portrayed, because it does hurt us.
Yeah,
it really does hurt us. You have to know. I'm going to rattle off the degrees that Travis has just so that you guys know. He has a PhD in optical science and engineering. He has a PhD in aerospace systems and engineering. He has a master's in physics. He has a master's in mechanical aerospace engineering, a master's in astronomy, and a bachelor's in electrical engineering.
Wow.
So that guy is not going to half-ass or fake an experiment ever.
Yeah.
It's just they don't show it.
Yeah, no, I think I think there's a lot of stuff that hits.
It's so sad.
That's so
sad. And also, like, honestly, I think, and this would be my biggest critique of Brandon Fugel's endeavor, and it's something I'd love to ask him about. We keep hearing that the data is going to be put on the website, but nothing is on that website. Yeah. It's and that's my only critique. I mean, even though I don't know what I'm looking at with a spectrum analyzer, I'd like the internet to take a look at it and then come back with some ideas, some theories. I think it would help you guys a lot if you guys did that. Because then at least you could watch the episode and then go to the website and say, okay, here's this week's episode's data that they've collected or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you could one day we get to see that, because I know you guys are saving it. You guys have a whole command center. There's got to be a couple hard drives in there, so I know you guys are saving it. And I just hope to see it one day, because I think that's what's really going to set this investigation or this curiosity of this ranch to a whole nother level. Because now the data can be talked about, it can be scrutinized, it can be cross-referenced. Let me ask you this before you go: is there any experiments that you guys want to do again?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot of follow-up that we want to do. I mean, just like we did, like we had the reaction with the small little rockets that we built the first season. That's why we upped the ante for season 2, obviously by a large degree.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are a lot of things that, and that's the frustration, is I would really like to do more follow up on some of the things that we've had, because it's sometimes, it's like, okay, we did this. This was really profound, and then it's off to the next thing, and that frustrates us, and that frustrates other people too.
Right.
So yeah, definitely.
Well, listen, Bryant, we've kept you past the time that we promised.
You guys are so much fun.
I know you're
so, dude,
you're too good to us. Seriously, too good to the show. We appreciate all the support. We appreciate your good humor. We appreciate that you could come on here. Get asked these very sometimes tough cases, some kind of maybe embarrassing questions, and you're like a duck. You let it just roll right off the back. You're totally cool with it. You have a lot of fun with it, and I think that's why everybody is so enamored with you, because they know, like, maybe part of you's a curmudgeon, but you still like hugs. You still like hugs.
He's a softie in the middle.
All right, my man. Go to the soccer game. Enjoy your family, and hopefully we'll see you next Friday with some friends. Or Wednesday.
Yeah.
No promises here.
No.
Look.
No, I'll commit to it now for myself. I'm happy to do that, and I'll see who else I can bring along.
Yeah, well, I was trying to get the producer AJ, but he's not available next Wednesday. But AJ's going to come after and talk about the whole season. So.
Oh, TJ?
TJ, excuse me, not AJ.
Yeah,
TJ.
Yeah, TJ Allard. Yep, for sure.
Cool, man.
Okay,
all right, well,
thanks, you guys.
Hey, thanks a lot,
thank
Dragon.
you. Always a pleasure.
All right, talk to you tomorrow, Jane.
Thanks, Dragon.
Yep. All right, Jane.
At 5 p.m. Mountain.
Jane.
Mountain.
Yes.
I know you were holding back questions. I know you were holding back questions for your show, so I can't wait to watch your show. Well, we're going to have to watch your show tomorrow on repeat, because I think our shows go on at the same time. So we're going to be competing tomorrow, but it's okay. I'm going to tell you.
Promoting Jane's show tomorrow.
Yeah,
so.
Go watch Jane's show tomorrow, because that's going to be fun.
Watch whatever show you feel in the mood to watch. It's all
well, here's the beautiful thing. You can watch them both. You know, it's not a problem. You don't have to be here live. You know, you don't have to be there live. It's the internet is this really wonderful thing where it always lives there. You know, so you could always go back. But Jane, before you go, my lady, please tell everyone where they can find your stuff and what time again that your interview with Dragon's going to be.
Yeah. Just search UFO Jane on all the channels, and I should come up. And if you have some more questions for Dragon, tomorrow we'll be talking more for California time, not just California Pacific. 5 Mountain Time, 6 Central, 7 Eastern.
7 Eastern.
the mountain. I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's all good. We do the same thing here. Miss Jane Kyle, thank you so much for all that you contribute, all of your wise wisdom. We appreciate it. We'll see you soon, my lady.
Thanks, Jane.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jane.
Well, Rather's in the big square, so we might as well get rid of Rather.
Who's the producer?
Thanks for reminding me.
That
Thanks
journalist.
for reminding me how the internet works, Lou, because I'm definitely going to have to check out both those shows tomorrow.
Yeah. No, it's a huge relief for everyone. I know. No, hey, I don't hear the music. Should I hear the music?
No one hears it.
No.
It should be playing, but let me.
You know what? It looks paused.
I hear it, but I have some serious mental issues, so it might not be the real music.
Well, check it out. It looks paused, but we'll send you backstage. I'm sure we'll get it going. Thanks, buddy.
Good.
Thanks, Rather.
I got you. There you go. Let's do it one more time. Why not? You know what? Awesome. All right, Mr. Alex Sears, Chief UFO Correspondent
At the Daily Caller.
Daily Caller. Go check him out.
A lot of fun tonight. A little bit of technical difficulties. We'll work through it. Had a great show. Thanks for having me. It was awesome.
Oh, man. It was awesome. Thank you so much for being patient and helping us get through
you guys run a tight ship. Listen, these things will happen. It's all right.
Yeah.
I doing production for 5 years now, and if all I had was one 15-minute delay, and that's a smooth sailing record.
I think that's a pretty good ship for sure. Well, dude, I appreciate the love, man. As you know, you're always welcome here. I insist almost.
Can't wait for that merch,
dude. That merch is coming, baby. I appreciate it. We'll see you soon, Alec.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, Alec.
All right. Let's see.
We
got the legendary.
There he is.
Legendary Jazz Shaw.
I got nothing to promote for myself. I don't run a paid channel or anything. I am basically here just to say, promote, like support Michael and Luis. They are doing important work. I'm here to get disclosure happening. And these guys are doing important work. Don't forget that the next big phone home is coming up. And keep these guys in business because they are doing God's work. They really are. All I got to say.
Thank you, Jazz. We appreciate your
Jazz.
love, my sir. We'll see you soon. Dude, what a show. What a day. What a start. What an end.
That was so stressful to start with.
Damn. That was a stressful show for the first 25, 30 minutes there. But you guys, to all of you that found the new link, thank you so damn much for following us over. I know that's a pain in the ass to click something else. Honestly, I do. So we really, really appreciate that you guys jumped over here on the Singularity Lab. It just shows what we're doing here is working, and we appreciate that. We see that you guys love the show. That's why we're doing the merch. That's why we got the Patreon for you guys to support. That's why we've opened the Super Chats. We want to do this show for you guys 5 days a week, and honestly, you're making it happen. All of you guys out there are making it happen. So share, subscribe, like the channel. Make sure you go to my channel, do the exact same thing if you haven't already. And tomorrow we'll be right here on the Singularity Lab. And what do we got coming up, Mike?
Mark Sokol, who is with Falcon Space, and he's working on, his goal is to be the first company ever to develop an aircraft that utilizes anti-gravity. So that's going to be a pretty wild show tomorrow.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a lot of fun. And then on Friday, we've got Zach Saichi from Project Human and Jamarl Thomas from the Progressive Soapbox. And then next week is going to be absolute fire. You guys, you're not going to want to miss next week. Grant Cameron, Richard Dolan, James Ian Doley, Melinda Leslie, Christina Gomez, Mick and Victor from the Nuno National UFO Night Out event. We might have we're definitely going to have the Dragon, maybe Brandon Fugel, maybe Travis Taylor, who knows, we'll see. And then on Thursday, we've got Lou Elizondo coming in with his father to talk to my dad and me. It's going to be an amazing, amazing experience, so don't miss it out. Friday, we've got no Mike, but we've got Mick and Victor back again to talk about, again, the event. And I'm still working on a guest for next Friday, but it's going to be a cool week.
Yeah.
It's going to be a cool week.
Yeah, if you're not subscribed, we go live every single day. Make sure you click the subscribe button, click the bell, hop on over to the Unidentified Celebrity Review if you haven't already, and make sure you subscribe.
Yeah. All right, well, with all of that said, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Unidentified Celebrity Review, your home for credible news, reviews, and commentary on everything UAP and UFO. My name is Luis Jimenez. That is Michael Mataluni right there. Thank you, guys. Remember, the show's brought to you by Blue Marlin Chronicles, purveyors of the world's finest fishing tackle since 1995, and the music, Das Tapes. Bandcamp link is in the description below. Until tomorrow, you guys, stay safe out there. Peace.